Even if you tried, you wouldn't understand it. Maybe something's missing.
Hello guys, and I have a very special treat, an amazing video for you guys today, amazing interview. Today I get to talk to a shaman or a Vedic monk. The guest today, Leon, he is someone who can communicate with spirits, see the aura energies in people, someone who has very interesting ideas and knowledge about the mystery of the world. I asked him, why are there starving children born who starve and just die versus someone who has prosperity and luck in their life? And what happened to those child souls? Who is God? What are ghosts, aliens? And I asked him a lot about these questions that we all have, and he had some pretty good answers. Also, I was not planning to make this into a video, so please excuse my really messy room that you're going to be seeing in the video. This version is a shortened version, so if you want to see the full podcast, I put the link down below. Like always, disclaimer, please watch for entertainment purpose only. And please be respectful in the comments, as we all have different ideology and knowledge, and we just all walk a different path. So keep that in mind, and let's get into the interview.
For those who don't know, because I asked you, are you a psychic? And you said you're a shaman. So what is that like in your definition?
In another way, you could also call me like a Vedic monk or a priest. So I am someone who has meditated to a point where I reached enlightenment. I can also commune with spirits. I also can commune with the forces of nature, also known as the god. What are gods per se? Well, there's three elder gods of creation that kind of form together. You can also call those like the directions, like height, width, and length. Those are all forces that continue outwards. That's the expanding of the universe. Those three directions form together to create a big bang. So that would be the creation god. And then all the forces of nature that people observe, like the wind, the water, the air, everything like that. If you give that a name and you pray to that, say like, oh, I really pray for rain to come. When you pray for rain and pray it on a lot, that becomes its own spiritual entity of some sort. So what we observe in regular life is the physical realm. And then where your thoughts exist and where souls and spirits exist is the astral realm. And it interacts with the physical realm just as much as everything else. It's kind of like a gamma radiation where you don't see it, but you'll feel it. I guess I should also like give you a few terms to work with. In Vedic belief would be your Atma, which is also known as your soul. And your physical vessel, which would be like your body. So your Atma is separate from your physical body. Now, who your Atma is your guardian angel or your gut feeling. So every time you have a gut feeling like, I should go here, or I should do this, that's basically your guardian angel kind of giving you a pang of like, this is what you should be doing. Now, who your guardian angel is it could be a god, it could be a smaller soul. Now, how can you tell the difference between a god and a smaller soul? Souls kind of work like, if you know the concept of phoenix, where it burns and rises from the ashes, and it's a fire that keeps on igniting. Now, every time that phoenix has a desire for something, let's say it's a desire to dance, let's say it's a desire to eat, let's say it's a desire for something, then a feather will fall from that phoenix, and then that feather will eventually turn into an egg that will spurt its own soul. That soul might willfully choose to incarnate in some form. It could be a smaller animal, it could be a person, it could be anything. While it accomplishes its life and it accomplishes its desire, it kind of gains its own wings. So it's really beautiful because it's all about how the more you follow your heart, the better this world gets.
So I know this might be a very just generic question, but do you see like auras from me? Do you see colors? Like, what do you see actually? And what do you feel?
All you need to do is have belief, and all you need to do is ask. And then I can. In your case, I can see a vivid green.
Through the screen? Whoa.
Yeah, I can see a vivid green and blue aura around you. So I see green and
Not
blue
the painting,
normally. Right? Not the painting. No,
Okay.
it's the green and blue is much different because that's more of a teal, while I'm seeing more of like an aqua that fades into an indigo. That shows me that you have like elation and curiosity. I see that you must have done something that makes you pretty happy lately. So I'm proud of you.
So interesting. Yeah. Do you see also ghosts? And is ghosts and spirits different, same?
The most vivid encounter I've ever had with a spirit was in my first year of university. It was just at home. I was sleeping at night, and then I woke up in the middle of the night. And I could feel that there was a woman in my bed. And I initially thought like, oh, maybe my mom felt like she wanted to cuddle up with me. But I could tell like, no, this woman's a lot younger than my mom. And I could tell that she was a transient spirit. So she must have recently passed. and was kind of living through her life, and she attached to the first thing, that a spirit that she came nearby. So then I could feel my sheets moving up and tucking me in, and that's not something my parents ever have done. And I could hear her giggling, and then I said a word, a shamanistic word, and this is important if you ever encounter a spirit and you just want to leave you alone. The words to separate it, like snap, is isu wusu. So isu wusu. Yep, it's kind of just like a command word that snaps the band of energy so that they can't interact with you anymore. The part that was interesting was I fell back asleep, and then I woke up the next day, and I was like, wow, that was like a weird dream. But when I went to go take a shower and I took my shirt off, down the middle of my back was a hairline scab, like as if someone took a fingernail and cut my back. I don't think that spirit did that on purpose, but what passes between the astral realm and the physical realm is electricity and light and sound, so wavelengths, because string theory is correct. So congratulations, there's probably spirits listening to your music and they're probably loving it. So when she touched me, she didn't realize that she was causing a static shock and tracing a line with it. The only thing is, humans have yet to realize that the astral realm exists in parallel with the physical realm.
About past lives, if I show you like a birthmark, can you see where it's from?
Most people require their unison with their own atma in order to see their past life. I have a scar as well, like a birthmark, just underneath my pec, from a sword mark from when I died during 1,000-year war in early India. I think like the only reason why I was born again with Indian blood is particularly because like my last life really liked it, and it was like, oh, I'm booking this life again. I'm booking another trip through this body. Even though like India is nothing like what it used to look like about 10,000 years ago. It used to be so much more beautiful back then, and I get memories and stuff from my past lives, and seeing how much more fruitful the world used to be. Most of the time it is from either injuries or something that you would that was a life-changing injury from a past life.
So regarding past life, do you have to reincarnate? What if you say, yeah, well, I'm done with coming back to the physical world?
You don't have to. It's entirely up to you. Letting you know, like 6 times out of 10 people will reincarnate for food, because in the astral realm, it's one of the reasons why people like love food. It's why Instagram was all about food pics. Like honestly, like people don't realize that a lot of the times that the reasons why they incarnate is because in the astral realm, spirits don't have taste buds. They can't taste anything. They don't have any physical bodies. They can't really enjoy the carnal pleasures of this planet, or even other planets too, because you don't have to incarnate on this planet. You can incarnate on any other planet that you want, because there's multiple planets that have life on them, and all of them offer something different. If you were going to consider Earth as something, it's almost like a video game hub where like everybody has been going on this planet pretty often. So there's a really good infrastructure. There's really good things going on. It's going to last in this zone for a pretty long time. And it's pretty mild when it comes to other forces of nature that could threaten you. Like we don't have to deal with like monsters that come and attack us on a regular basis, unlike some other planets where there's a lot more ferocious beasts. So it's pretty tame, and that's one of the reasons why there's so many people that propagate here, and why there's so much reincarnation that does happen on this planet in particular.
If you were to reincarnate, you don't want to get eaten by monsters, why would you reincarnate to that kind of planets? Do you not have a choice?
Well, you do have a choice, and most of the time people will incarnate on those planets because they wanted a sense of adventure. They wanted to live a life of something like an adventurer, or a life of someone who has to battle monsters. If you ever meet really like competitive people, really sporty people, the people who are really competitive and really sporty, who always want to like beat something, they're normally the people that will try to incarnate on planets that are a little bit more dangerous.
Say like you reincarnate to a starving child in a third world country, how would that explain?
You never really get to choose the circumstances of what happens when you're born. I'll give you like a personal context. Like I did not know when I incarnated into this body that the people of India would have been so far from what they were taught thousands of years ago. Like they don't believe in the same things they used to. They're nowhere near the same religious leaders that they used to be. It's a completely different place that's like entirely corrupt. They didn't know when they incarnated into that body that body would be impoverished. They didn't know that family would not be able to provide for them. They just chose a life that was more tribal. They wanted something that's a lot more family oriented versus something that's a lot more city life like.
But if you're in the astral realm, then you don't see us like how we do it?
Not necessarily. It's kind of like throwing a dart at a spinning board. You have your set of circumstances, you have your desires of what you want, and then you kind of just take a dart, you throw it at the board, and you hope it lands on at a right position. That's one of the reasons why children who die starving, they'll almost automatically reincarnate, have a new opportunity, have a lot better of an opportunity. It's a little bit of solace and a little bit of a weight off your shoulders, knowing that if they do pass, they will have another opportunity. It'll probably be like a snap opportunity in another place, in another timeline. Oh, because time works in a helix. So just like how I said, it's a spinning dartboard, that's a spinning time helix as well. So you can throw it, you might end up being incarnated in the future. If you die randomly in the future, you can throw another dart and you might incarnate in the past, and you'll have another opportunity to live through that time period again.
So what happens after you've grew so much that do you become God? What's the enlightenment in the spiritual
Your
world?
soul will eventually become a god. Everybody's soul is on their path to becoming a god. And a god is just a force that defines their heart's true purpose. Like, humans do not have the right to make another decision over another human. If you do that, you will be punished by Themis, because she's like, hey, that's the job of the gods to decide if this person's a good person or a bad person. What we're supposed to do as humans is we're supposed to hold each other accountable and say, like, hey, you just kicked that puppy. You're an asshole. Why'd you do that? Don't do that. We're going to prevent you from kicking any more puppies. But we can't just say, like, oh, this person, he kicked a puppy once, so he's evil and we need to hang him and we need to kill him. That's not our place. The one god who works her ass off is Karma. Oh my God, she works fast. And there are other beings that exist that are not good ones. I call them the beasts. Because they're not demons. They kind of come from parallel dimension, and they're not able to interact with us. What they do is they kind of like latch onto people, and they will mimic your voice inside your head, and they'll start whispering lies to you. Now, some people know this as like mental illness, where
Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia and stuff. But the thing is, these ones in particular will be the worst bullies to you, and they'll speak in your own voice. So they'll try to convince you that actually it's you who's saying these things to you. Children are at unison with their patron god, with their Atma. They're in unison. When they start becoming influenced by schools, by other people, that's when they get a little bit separated, because their Atma's like, oh, I'm gonna let you live your life. I'll let you experience whatever you need to experience. Normally, when you reach the age of 30 or so, like around 30 and beyond, that's normally when people have their midlife crisis. And midlife crisis is normally them reuniting with their Atma and realizing, like, oh my gosh, I am not following my heart's true desire. Why have I been like doing accounting when I was supposed to be like a metal worker? And that's normally why people like a little bit later on in their life start seeing spirits again, because they're going to, once they reach their heart's desire and they are at unison with their patron god and their Atma, then they're able to see the astral realm again. Don't follow what everyone else is telling you to do. Don't get influenced by everybody else's desires. You need to do what you want to do. You suffer the consequence of whatever action you take. So if you decide to listen to an aunt giving you bad advice, she doesn't have to suffer the consequence of that action. That's you
true.
that has to suffer that consequence. This person might have the best intentions for me, but do they really know what I want to do? Do they really value what I truly care about? Because if they don't, then are they really looking out for your better interest?
I like that
really
karmatic balance. That was good. That's
karmatic
nice.
balance. It's really, really important. It's also a part of like just living life. If you're going to consume nature, go plant some nature. And that's how you reduce your carbon footprint, as well as give back to nature and let other spirits thrive. You also have the opportunity when you reincarnate to live simply as a tree. You can live as a tree, and you can just enjoy the sun and the water and have that long life of 100 years of just breathing in and breathing out. Is basically what that life is like.
So I just wanted to get into a topic about also aliens. Can you see aliens, or are you not in that category?
Like, aliens are very much a real thing. Like, I find aliens to be really sad rather than a really interesting phenomenon, because what a lot of people think is aliens are coming from distant planets. It's a lot easier to pass through parallel universes than it is to pass like go physically the distance. A parallel universe would be like going from your bedroom to a bedroom down the hall, while going to across the street to somebody else's house. And then they're just sticking around this planet, figuring out, is this like Earth 3.0.1, the one that we came from? And most of the time it isn't. And so they're kind of lost, and they're trying to get back, because traveling through the veil of parallel dimensions is like playing like a game of pachinko. Like, you have no idea where you're going to end up, and it's a really risky game. And a lot of civilizations in the future always end up making the same mistake of like just jumping through parallel dimensions, expecting it's going to just be like a ping pong game when it really isn't. But there is almost like a law that will be passed, like where you're not supposed to nest on a planet that has an active civilization growing.
So whose law is this? Who made this law, this universal law?
Pretty sure this is like one that's between advanced humans, just like how we have a rule to not go into the Amazon rainforest and interact with tribes that exist over there. It's the same deal. It's the exact same type of law that we already have when it comes to small tribes that are not as developed. We can't do that because there's a high chance that these aliens do have their own set of diseases, like, and the same thing that happened with the conquistadors that came to North America, bringing smallpox and bringing all these things and decimating the population.
Do you believe in the whole like shape-shifting aliens that live among us?
Like the draconians in particular, they would probably be living like subterranean, and most other creatures that can interact with us, like Bigfoot and stuff, they realize that humans are just bad news. Like they're bad news. You can look at a history book and it will prove to you anything ever goes wrong, humans will take the first opportunity to find the first person that looks different from them and blame them for everything that's going on. So it's the same thing with other races. For example, like dolphins are just as smart as humans. I would consider dolphins and like pigs as tier 3 civilizations. Had they developed language so that they can communicate with us, oh, they probably understand. They probably do understand us, just like how dogs do understand what you're trying to tell them. But they're not going to go out of their way to speak a human language because they know that if they ever like learn to really communicate with us, if something goes wrong, then they're the first thing that's going to be slaughtered. Like humans are pretty nasty.
So one last question about this, but like then someone might say, well, does it matter what I do in this life if we're going to reincarnate again? You know, this is more like just a play.
Like people do this because they want to do it. So yeah, you can choose to not do anything, but you're wasting your own opportunity. Like you wanted to do something. So why would you give up on wanting to do that? Just remember how you were when you were 4 years old and you had none of the weight of the world on your shoulders. You wanted to play, you wanted to make friends, you wanted to enjoy life. You should be living as if you were 4 years old. Just go for it. Like, why would you give up? Like, you chose to incarnate. You have it in you. All you have to do is just keep on doing it. Keep on following your heart and spend some time per day just being with yourself and thinking, like, what have I accomplished today? And like, what can I do to thank myself for following my dreams?
A lot of people have a question like this. If someone, let's say your grandfather passed away, can you talk to them again? Will we meet them again?
Well, yes and no. It all depends on your desire and their desire. Them themselves like will reincarnate, but a portion of them will stick around and be with you until the day that you pass because they cared for you. Their emotions for you will linger around you and you can commune with them, but they're basically just telling you, live your life, do what you can. Don't worry about me. I've lived my life, just like what they normally say to you when they were alive. They were always saying like, I love you. I want you to be happy. I want you to, it's the same thing that they were saying to you when you were living. A lot of people think that they're going to get some secret information about like this or that. None of that stuff really matters because you're supposed to follow your own path. You're not supposed to be stepping in the shadow of your grandfather.
Thank you to Leon for coming onto my channel, and if you guys have watched this whole thing, leave a comment down below what you guys have thought about this interview and this episode. The universe is just so mysterious that there's just really no one answer, and I've learned a lot from Leon. And make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because I reply to all my early birds. Yes, I'm live chatting with you guys the moment the video is uploaded. Thank you guys for watching and have a wonderful, magical week.